it would be in their best interest to bar him from federal public office again. And I mean,
It's
he'd have, they're worried about being primary, but I mean, this would be so far removed. They'd have to wait a year to even try to find people to primary some of these folks.
Yeah, and I would never really put a lot of stock in Donald Trump's carry through, right? I mean, he's got the attention span of of a fruit fly, so and his carry through has always been terrible. So I don't know how valuable a threat that would be in a lot of places. It would definitely be in the GOP's interest to convict, and not just because of the fact that he um, actually incited an insurrection and violated his oath to office. But the reality of the Republican Party is that they lost because of Donald Trump. They lost the White House, only the third president to lose re-election in the last 100 years, Donald Trump. So he lost the White House, they lost Congress, they lost the Senate, right? So he's cost them dearly already. Now you look at who he galvanized: young people, people of color, people who traditionally don't vote, turned out in dramatic numbers, and that's why we won states like Arizona, in Georgia, and made up ground in Texas. So Republicans are really going to double down on this dying white, old, male, rural vote and count on that to carry them to national prominence. So clearly, they are on the wrong side of demographic trends and just the very psyche of America. And yet that's what they're sticking with. It doesn't understand. I don't understand that. It makes no sense. So can they flip it? Well, we just had all but 6 Republicans say that it wasn't even a constitutional trial. So it's hard for me to see how you then vote to convict after you said it's not constitutional in the first place, right? I mean, it would be in Congress. Not that it would stop Republicans, are more than happy to be hypocritical and illogical when it suits them. So to me, the question is, always it's going to come down to Mitch McConnell. Now, he's still signaling that maybe he might vote to convict, right? And if it was up to just, his own personal, instincts or whatever, I don't think he votes to convict. I think he hates Donald Trump with a passion, but I think he also hates Democrats even more than he hates Donald Trump. So I think that doesn't bode well. But here's the problem: is that corporate PACs, corporate donors, CEOs, they're afraid to vote for. They're afraid to donate money to Republicans right now because of potential blowback and being seen as aiding and abetting insurrectionists. So there is a big question, I think, in McConnell's mind: are these corporate PACs just putting on a big show right now when everybody's paying attention, and then they come back quietly 5-6 months down the road like nothing happened? Or are they really going to lose these corporate PACs? And Microsoft already said that for the next 2 years, they're not going to, might even been 4 years, they're not going to donate any money to any Republican who was part of the insurrection. So McConnell, I think that's the piece. And if McConnell then decides that he's going to vote to convict, can he bring another 10 Republicans with him? Possibly. Again, it's hard to see it happening, but it is within the realm of possibility. I wouldn't put money on it. I mean, nobody should vote. Nobody should ever bet on Republicans doing the right thing. But if they fear that this money issue is going to bite them, then I think they might have to act. And Republicans don't have an Act Blue. They don't have a way to funnel small dollar donations to their campaigns. Their supporters aren't the kind of people, apparently, to funnel small dollar contributions. So this is a fundamental flaw and problem. I mean, Democrats dramatically outraised and outspent Republicans in 2020. That's probably not going to change anytime soon. So if you cut off that corporate spigot to Republican candidates, it'll mean that they'll fall even further behind. And I don't know if they think they can afford that.
But now he voted with the 44 other Republicans to say that the trial was unconstitutional because he's no longer in office. Mitch McConnell was the one who blocked the trial while he was in office.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm not holding my breath to think he's going to do anything. If he's saying it's unconstitutional now, what's he going to do? Flip again and say, well, I'm going to vote to convict. But I think what you alluded to is important. If, in fact, corporations are going to say they're going to withhold their money, see, I think that's the bottom line. Those corporations would have to say, hey, you want some money? You vote to convict. I mean, 1 + 1 = 2. That's real simple. Now, I don't know if any of them are going to have the courage to do that. But I think that it's just that simple. And that message needs to be gotten to him this week so that he'll know. I mean, that's really what it is. Because to your point, can Donald Trump follow through? He's been deplatformed. So what platform other than Fox News, and he goes in and out of love with them, is going to mobilize primary candidates? And then does Fox News want to go so far out there that it is completely the opposite of the Republican Party establishment? I don't know that they're ready to do that just yet. Because then if we're talking about corporations buy ads on Fox News, even though not many of them are left. Most of them pulled out. Okay, so at what point do they, cut their losses as well? Why would they help Donald Trump and nobody can even see him? Has Donald Trump been on Fox News since he left office?
Nope.
What's that about?
He still blames Fox News for costing them the election, for destroying that narrative by calling Arizona.
Right. So I think that, I just don't see what they get out of maintaining this for something that's what is the deep web. Is that what it's called?
The dark web.
The dark web. Is that
and then
primary candidates? And there's the dark web is underground and secret, which does not lend itself to popular electoral math.
Yeah, just 1,000 cranks who are plotting the overthrow of our government. I mean, you're not going to build a Republican majority based on that. So for sure, one of the things I think they're worried about is this idea of a Patriot Party, right? And I can't think of a dumber thing to be worried about than Trump actually running something effectively. Remember, this is the guy that bankrupted a casino, a business that literally prints money. So if he can't run a casino, how is he going to run a political party? I mean, we know it would degenerate into a grift from day one. What's he going to have? Steve Bannon run it or Jared Kushner? I mean, these people couldn't run anything. So this idea that he would be successful in running a party, a Patriot Party, is laughable. We know that it would be a Donald Trump grift. We know it would fall apart under criminal investigation in a matter of a year or two. So I actually would almost encourage, if I was a Republican worried about the long-term future of the Republican Party, I would actually encourage all the crazies to leave and to go to this Patriot Party and then to cleanse them. And then you can go back to the suburbs and say, yeah, we're not the crazy party. Those guys over there, that's a Donald Trump crazy party. We're the people that are going to give you lower taxes. And if they were smart, they might even dump the abortion stuff. And they could just really turn it into, we're not going to tax you party. And that would be an actually dangerous party electorally over time. The problem is that it would mean that the Republicans would be out in the wilderness for several cycles as they retooled, which is it's what happened after Barry Goldwater lost. It took a while before Republicans took control of Congress. I mean, Barry Goldwater was what in 72, 68. Ronald Reagan didn't win till 1980. And Republicans, Newt Gingrich, didn't take Congress till 1992. Yeah, 92. So it means you're going to be in the wilderness for a while, but then you have a much more solid foundation upon which to build majorities. What they have right now is going literally in the opposite direction, and they are doubling down on that instead. And Mark, if I was just a partisan Democrat, I'd be like, all right, keep going down this path. But the problem is that this is not a Republican Party that believes in democracy, and we're one low turnout election away from having maybe a smarter version of Donald Trump in office. And we were lucky that we had somebody who announced his dastardly plans to the public, like, I'm going to undermine the postal service so Democrats can't vote by mail. And then we think, okay, then we're not going to use the postal service. We'll vote in person early and use drop boxes. And it undermined his effort to undermine the election, to disenfranchise people. Next time we may not be so lucky. And we're one low turnout election away from that happening. And that's what's scary. If it was a question of, okay, Republicans are the party lower taxes and they want to eliminate a woman's right to choose, yeah, we're going to fight that tooth and nail. But at least you don't feel like the very fabric of American democracy is at risk.